Welcome back to the series Epic Battles in History, where we explore the most legendary battles that shaped the course of civilization. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating battles of the ancient world, the Battle of the Hydaspes, also known as Battle of Jhelum. This epic encounter took place in 326 BC, along the banks of the Hydaspes River, modern-day Jhelum River in Pakistan, between Alexander the Great, the Macedonian conqueror, and King Porus, a fierce ruler of ancient India. It was a battle of wits, courage, and a clash of two powerful armies that left an indelible mark on history. By 326 BC, Alexander the Great had conquered the mighty Persian Empire, and his ambition knew no bounds. His eyes now turned eastward, toward the Indian subcontinent. It was the final frontier of his conquest, and Alexander believed that victory in India would complete his dream of ruling the known world. Crossing the perilous Hindu Kush mountains and battling fierce resistance along the way, Alexander and his army reached the banks of the Hydaspes River. But awaiting him was King Porus, a ruler of the Punjab region, who would not let his kingdom fall without a fight. King Porus wasn't just any ruler. According to Greek historians, he was over 7 feet tall, a commanding presence on the battlefield, and highly respected for his valor and military prowess. Alexander's forces were seasoned warriors, trained in the art of the phalanx, a tightly packed infantry formation armed with long spears. His army included around 40,000 infantry and 5,000 cavalry, battle-hardened from years of campaigning across the Persian Empire. Porus, on the other hand, brought an army vastly different in its composition and fighting style. He had approximately 30,000 infantry, 4,000 cavalry, and over 200 war elephants. These elephants were the tanks of the ancient battlefield, capable of crushing anything in their path. They were a unique challenge for Alexander, who had never faced such beasts in combat before. War elephants were a terrifying sight in ancient battles. Their sheer size and power made them highly effective against infantry and cavalry. But they could also be unpredictable and difficult to control. The Hydaspes River was in full flood when Alexander arrived, making it nearly impossible for his army to cross. With Porus's forces stationed on the opposite bank, it seemed that the Macedonians were at a disadvantage. Alexander, however, was a master of strategy. He knew that a direct crossing in front of Porus's army would be suicidal. Instead, he devised a brilliant plan. He sent part of his army to create a diversion, while secretly leading the rest of his forces upstream to find a crossing point further away from Porus's position. Alexander's famous tactic at the Hydaspes was a night crossing. He moved his troops across the river under the cover of darkness and heavy rain, catching Porus completely off guard. At dawn, Alexander launched his attack. His cavalry swept around the flanks of Porus's army, creating confusion among the Indian forces. Meanwhile, his infantry advanced in the center to engage Porus's war elephants. Porus unleashed his war elephants in a bid to crush the Macedonian infantry. The elephants wreaked havoc on the battlefield, trampling soldiers and causing chaos. But Alexander's troops, disciplined and experienced, maintained their formation, using their long spears to wound the elephants and drive them back. Alexander instructed his men to target the mahouts, the drivers of the elephants, and then the legs of the elephants themselves. Once the mahouts were killed, the elephants became uncontrollable and often caused damage to their own troops. As the battle raged on, Alexander demonstrated his tactical genius. While Porus fought bravely, the Macedonian cavalry managed to isolate the Indian cavalry from the war elephants, leaving them vulnerable. Alexander pressed the advantage, encircling Porus's army and gradually wearing them down. Despite his efforts, Porus's forces began to falter. His war elephants, injured and panicked, turned on their own men, causing further disarray. Realizing that defeat was inevitable, Porus refused to flee. Instead, he fought with unwavering courage, standing tall on his elephant until he was eventually wounded. According to legend, when Alexander finally met the wounded Porus after the battle, he was impressed by his bravery. Alexander famously asked him how he wished to be treated, to which Porus replied, "Like a king." Alexander, admiring his valor, spared his life and even reinstated him as the ruler of his kingdom. Though Alexander emerged victorious, the Battle of the Hydaspes was one of his hardest-fought battles. He was so impressed by Porus's valor and leadership that he not only spared him, but also granted him more territory to rule. However, this victory also marked a turning point for Alexander's campaign. His troops, exhausted and wary of facing more fierce Indian armies and war elephants, refused to march further into India. The Battle of the Hydaspes thus became Alexander's last great victory before his empire began its long retreat. Alexander named 2 cities after his victory: Nicaea, meaning victory, and Bucephala, named after his beloved horse Bucephalus, who died during or shortly after the battle. The Battle of the Hydaspes stands as a defining moment in the history of ancient India and Alexander's conquests. It highlighted the fierce resistance and bravery of the Indian warriors, and it marked the beginning of Greek influence in the region. Though Alexander didn't conquer all of India, his encounter with King Porus left a lasting legacy of mutual respect between 2 great leaders. It was a clash not just of armies, but of cultures, each influencing the other in the years that followed. The battle's outcome also paved the way for the rise of future Indian empires, including the powerful Maurya Empire, which emerged soon after Alexander's departure from the region. The Battle of the Hydaspes was more than just a military conflict. It was a testament to the resilience of ancient India and the tactical brilliance of Alexander the Great. It reminds us that even in the face of overwhelming odds, true kings earn their place in history through courage and wisdom. Thank you for joining us on this journey through one of history's epic battles. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to How for more deep dives into the battles that shaped our world. And let us know in the comments, what epic battle should we cover next?